we're going to call on Senate Bill 5070. And Eiley, would you please present that bill to us?
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Eiley Cotto, committee staff. Senate Bill 5070 relates to menstrual hygiene products in school and post-secondary institution bathrooms. This bill requires school districts, charter schools, state tribal compact schools, and private schools to make menstrual hygiene products available at no cost in all gender-neutral bathrooms and bathrooms designated for female students located in schools that serve students in any of grades 6 through 12. Institutions of higher education must also make these products available. This requirement becomes effective at the beginning of the 22-23 school year. The educational entities bear the cost of supplying these products, and they may seek grants or partner with other organizations to fulfill this obligation. A fiscal note was requested but is not yet available. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to ask the committee members, do any of you have a question for Eiley? No, seeing none. This is not the first time that we've heard this topic. And I like to think that we were among the first, perhaps, I'm not sure, but I like to think we were among the first in the country to have this as an issue for schools. So Senator Wilson, will you call the first panel, please? You need to unmute, Senator Wilson.
Excuse me, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Maybe you'd mentioned this, but is Senator Rivers unable to offer?
Yes.
I do not see Senator Rivers here, and but I will ask Senator Rivers if she's here.
I'll reach out to her too, just so that if she joins in, maybe she can offer later.
Oh, I'm happy to have that happen. I just didn't see her. I'm so sorry. Okay, please do reach out. It would be great to have the bill sponsor here. But meanwhile, we'll have Senator Wilson.
Thank you so much. And let me know if she does arrive, and would be happy to give the chair back the gavel, and we can do that. So first up, I'm going to call a panel of three. Sarah Freeman from Seattle, Aiden Garland Minor from organization Period, Tristan Eddy from the Justice for Girls Coalition of Washington State.
Okay, Sarah, thank you so much. Unmute and please give us your testimony.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Freeman, and I am a current student at the George Washington University, but I currently live in Seattle and also Chelan. I think we can all agree that periods are not a luxury, and that's why we passed Senate Bill 5147 last session, an act removing the sales tax on feminine hygiene products. This was an amazing step in the right direction. It made people who menstruate feel acknowledged. We can expand upon this progress by requiring schools to provide feminine hygiene products for students. In a study done by Thinks and Period, a feminine hygiene company and a nonprofit organization, respectively, it was found that lack of access to feminine hygiene products was the biggest reason menstruators skip school. I personally have known many students who've left school because their period came and they had no products. According to Harris Insight and Analytics, 1 in 5 teenage girls, quote, can't afford to purchase menstrual hygiene products, end quote. The fact of the matter is, it distracts from learning. As we transition back to in-person education, why not take that burden off students? School is already stressful enough, and the stigma around menstruation only heightens it. Schools providing feminine hygiene products would not only reduce student absences due to menstruation, but it would also allow students to feel more comfortable knowing that they have access to the resources they need. Just as periods aren't a luxury, feminine hygiene products should not be a luxury either. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Aiden, is it Aiden? Have I correctly pronounced that?
Yes, thank you. Hi, I'm Aiden Garland Minor. I'm a student at Washington State University and the president and founder of the Period chapter here. First, I just want to thank the committee members and for your work on this bill and the opportunity to speak on it. So I'm just going to tell a quick story. When I was 13, I was in 7th grade at Lucille Umberger Elementary School in Burlington, Washington. I had just moved to the school and I wasn't very familiar with it yet. It was a typical school day, but I was on my period. I went to the bathroom after lunch, only to find that my pad was soaked. I rummaged around in my backpack, but I already knew that I would come up empty because I didn't expect it to be this heavy. I had heard from my peers that the nurse's office had menstrual products, but I'd have to go in the main office, ask the secretary, and out myself as a menstruator, which as a 13-year-old with internalized shame about having a period would have been very nerve-wracking. Instead, I tied my jacket around my waist and hoped it wouldn't get worse. I bled into my jacket the entire day. It was the second day of my cycle, so it was heavy. I bled through my underwear, through my pants, and eventually through the jacket. To this day, the jacket still has a blood stain on the interior. I bled on each chair I sat on. I bled during class. I spent the entire day worrying about the blood that was seeping through my clothes onto the blue plastic chairs that my instructors would find later that day. And my experience isn't that bad. Not only is not having a menstrual product when you need one physically uncomfortable, but it's mentally taxing and emotionally draining. Sitting in class knowing that blood can drip down your leg at any time is incredibly stressful. To compensate for the lack of menstrual products readily available and accessible to us in our schools, we slide pads up our sleeves and down our boots so no one sees while we walk to the bathroom. We nervously ask other girls if they have anything when we don't, and we panic when they say no. We tie jackets around our waists, and many menstruators don't go to school at all. According to the United States Department of Education, we have the right to equal education opportunity regardless of race, ethnic background, religion, or sex. We know that this isn't the case for a lot of students in America, and this is just one way to make it better. Do we really want our girls to continue to miss valuable class time because they're in the bathroom scrambling for menstrual products, something 50% of the population needs and we can provide? I don't want anyone else to go through what I did or anything worse, and that's why I'm here.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your testimony. And then it is Tristan Eddy. Tristan. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much. Madam Chair, Vice Chairs, and committee members, my name is Tristan Eddy, and I'm here on behalf of the Justice for Girls Coalition of Washington State. We testify in favor of Senate Bill 5070 and believe this legislation is crucial to addressing inequities in access to menstrual products to the most vulnerable girls in our state. This is an issue of equity and dignity. Across our state, thousands of school-age girls are living in poverty and lack the resources to manage basic menstrual hygiene. As a result, they are denied equal learning opportunities as they often skip school or classes while having their period. According to a recent study, a shocking 1 in 5 teen girls in the US have struggled to afford period products or cannot buy them at all. 1 in 4 girls have missed class due to the lack of access to period products, a direct result of girls learning that menstruation is something to hide. In fact, the study found stress and shame were the most common emotions girls associated with the body's natural process of menstruation. The reality of period poverty, combined with the social stigma attached to having a period, has long-lasting negative impacts on a girl's life. Washington State has no integrated program for the provision of menstrual products or addressing period poverty at this time. We can change that by passing Senate Bill 5070. By shifting primary responsibility for responding to period poverty to the education system and community supports, we join best practice places like New York City and Santa Clara, California, who have expanded legislation and budgeted so that everyone has access to the feminine hygiene products they need to live and thrive. These are some of the reasons why we are here today, and we urge you to support this bill. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from the committee members for this panel? I don't see any, and so I'll ask Senator Wilson to call the next panel. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair Wellman. Next up, Lily Ulrich from Lake Washington High School, Ivan Schneerson from Lake Washington High School, and Shira Quincosis from Lake Washington High School.
Okay, Lake Washington, my district. Okay, Lily, would you please begin?
Good morning. My name is Lily Ulrich, and I'm a senior at Lake Washington High School in Kirkland. Feminine hygiene products should be available in all secondary schools in Washington State to allow girls to focus on their education, not their menstrual cycles. According to a tally taken by the Washington Office of Superintendent of Public Instruction in December 2020, there are about 1,057,000 total K-12 students in Washington State. If you assume that half of these students are in middle and high school and half of those students are female, there are about 264,000 students in Washington public schools with periods, 8,800 of which start their period every single day. On days I have my period, which can be up to 1 week every month, my thoughts are not always focused on school. I mentally ration the products in my backpack to make them last all day, and I try to remember who I can ask for an extra. I watch other girls spend too much time worrying about their periods too. I have gathered the following anonymous stories from my female peers. One student described getting her period during a state standardized test. She was denied access to her backpack to grab a pad or a tampon due to the testing rules. Multiple students reported not having access to their backpacks during PE classes because they were locked in the locker room. One student recounted a time when she had to create a makeshift pad out of toilet paper. This student had to go to the bathroom during every class period, missing a total of 30 minutes of instruction time. If feminine hygiene products were available in bathrooms, these students could have focused well on performing in their exams, their PE classes, and on their schoolwork. According to the Always 2018 Confidence and Puberty Survey, 1 in 5 girls in America have left school early or missed school entirely due to not having access to feminine hygiene products. It is every girl's basic right to attend school without their periods, an uncontrollable biological factor holding them back. So please make the right decision. There are 264,000 girls counting on you. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Lily. And let's see, there you are. Ivan, would you please begin?
My name is Yvonne Schneerson, and I'm a senior at Lake Washington High School in Kirkland. I'm in strong support of this bill and supporting the girls in our state. Today, I'd like to discuss the means of paying for products pertaining to the unfunded mandate portion of this bill and address some counter-arguments presented by those that oppose this bill. Undoubtedly, the main reason that there even are opponents to this bill is the cost. But feminine hygiene products can be more affordable than what is commonly thought. To elaborate, common bulk prices for tampons are around 10 cents per product, while sanitary napkins run about 11 cents per product. Bulk packages contain 250 to 500 products, costing between $28 and $55. Depending on the school and the number of female students, each package could last for weeks or months. Keep in mind that not all girls will have to use these products, and the bill does not mandate the highest quality or most expensive ones. Sometimes girls will be prepared and have their own preferred quality products with them. However, when emergencies happen, hygiene products need to be there for them. Coming from a wealthy school, finding the funds for providing hygiene products at our school has not been a concern. However, I understand that these concerns generally come from rural and low-income school districts with limited space in their budgets. But it is crucial to keep in mind that it is the very low-income students of these schools that would benefit the most from this bill. So I'd like to present some opportunities to make this cost manageable for said districts. Firstly, Washington already provides a sales and tax exemption on feminine hygiene products. Additionally, there are nonprofit and community organizations that are willing to donate products or funds to these school districts. Planned Parenthood, which in the past has supported similar bills, is one example. The PAD Project, which works to fund the placement of PAD machines, is another. Retailers are willing to offer discounts to those who purchase the products in bulk. Costco gives districts the availability to request specifically for menstrual hygiene products for their schools in bulk. Other retailers like Target offer similar opportunities through donations and community grants. Cost should not be a reason to oppose this bill. Schools find the funds to purchase paper towels and toilet paper, and they should find the funds to purchase just as necessary menstrual hygiene products. Pass SB 5070, help these girls. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for doing some investigation on the costs. That's good information for us. We haven't heard before, I don't think. Shira, welcome, and would you please present your testimony?
Good morning, Senators. My name is Shira Quincosis, and I'm a senior at Lake Washington High School in Kirkland. I'm in support of this bill because in school, students should be focused on learning, not bleeding. Schools provide basic necessities like food, water, toilet paper, and even mental health counselors. So why can't they provide tampons? The answer is simple. Women's biological processes are a hidden and hushed over topic for 2 reasons. 1, because we are conditioned to think that they're gross, and 2, because vestigial patriarchal systems still linger. Equity. Equity means providing resources to the poor so they have the same chance to be successful like their wealthier peers. Equity means providing tampons and pads for free in all schools so students can all stay in class without worrying about bleeding on their chair. Just like Band-Aids, Kleenex, and toilet paper, period products will provide for the health, comfort, and peace of mind of adolescents who have enough distractions from school without worrying about their periods. Inability to afford menstrual products can and will compromise the education of our most vulnerable, even causing absenteeism. On OSPI's website, under the key value of equity, they say they require educational leaders to actively dismantle systemic barriers, replacing them with policies and practices that ensure all students have access to the instruction and support they need to succeed in our schools. The failure to provide menstrual products in school bathrooms is most definitely a barrier to engagement and success for students in need. And if California, Illinois, New Hampshire, and New York can do it, so can we. Periods can be an uncomfortable and even dysphoric topic, but normalizing them by providing pads will ease this natural process, helping students of all genders to feel comfortable in school. And we need students to feel comfortable in school so they can pay attention to their teachers and focus on learning, especially those in low-income areas. Knowing there are products available in an emergency provides astounding mental comfort. In reality, most students prefer to use their own products they're used to, so offering a backup plan is not going to cost nearly as much as may be projected. This is a case of gender inequality. Please, I beg you, do the right thing.
Thank you so much. Any questions for this panel? I'm not seeing any. Okay. Thank you so much for your testimony. And I think we have one more panel, Senator Wilson.
Yeah, and before I call that panel up, I will say that there were 29 individuals that signed in not wishing to testify, all in support of 5070 menstrual products in schools. So our last three testifiers are Hannah Sieben, graduate and professional student senate at the UW, Samantha Fakharzadeh from Washington Students Association, I apologize in advance, and Sasha Connor.
Thank you so much. And I see Hannah. Good morning, Hannah. Please begin your testimony.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Hannah Sieben. I am the student advocate for the Graduate and Professional Student Senate at the University of Washington, and I'm here to support Senate Bill 5070 today. I'm really glad to see that post-secondary institutions are included in this legislation. At the University of Washington, they began a pilot program to provide menstrual hygiene products in specific bathrooms across campus. And I feel like this is a great starting point, but I know that we need to expand this program, especially as we aim to build equity in schools and on university campuses. I think that this legislation is what will make that happen. At UW, there are 60 buildings that include at least one bathroom that is supposed to have free menstrual hygiene products. There's a list that is obscurely posted online that tells students where they can find one of these bathrooms. You have to find the right building, go to the right floor, find the right bathroom, and hope that there is still product in stock. And as any person who menstruates knows, there's a sense of urgency if you find yourself unprepared for a period. The last thing that we want for students is for them to have to run around searching for the right bathroom to find a tampon when they just need to go to class. I think this legislation is really important because it will help students just be students. They won't need to look up bathroom lists or worry about searching for the right building to find menstrual hygiene products. I strongly support this legislation, and I encourage you all to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Samantha, that's my daughter's name, so like it very much. Please go on.
Thank you. Hello, Chairwoman and members of the committee. My name is Samantha Fakharzadeh. I'm representing the students of Washington State University Global Campus, and I'm advocating alongside the Washington Students Association. I'm in strong support of Bill 5070, and I also urge the committee to modify the language to be more inclusive of trans experiences. The language of this bill actually provides us a wonderful opportunity to apply the equity lens and to expand its coverage to be more inclusive. Where the bill outlines gender neutral and female designated bathrooms, it may also state male designated bathrooms. Facilities, schools facilities don't always have gender neutral bathrooms, and oftentimes when they do, they're not easily accessible. Trans folks are protected under Washington law to be able to use the bathroom of their identified gender. And individuals using men's restrooms should have the same access to menstrual products without having to face the doubled stress of needing to come out to staff each time they need a menstrual product. Having them available will reduce stress and reduce the likelihood that they'll be put in a position where they need to emotionally defend themselves. Coming out is a really stressful time for most members of the LGBTQ+ community. And when you have to do that every single time you need a menstrual product, it can be even more devastating. And we know from experience that students who are given the space to be themselves and to feel safe, they learn better. and they thrive. So I thank you for this opportunity to testify before you today, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll hear from the third panelist first, and then we'll see. Sasha, nice to see you.
Good morning, Senate Education Committee. I am Sasha Connor, a college student and a Fayetteville Washingtonian for all my life. I'm here to express the need for support on SB 5070. Like many others in the Education Committee, this bill is dedicated to providing students the best chance to succeed in their time of learning, a crucial period. In my last testimony here for Bill SB 6073, just like this one, I found it is necessary for the unfunded mandate and grant portion of this bill to be discussed. Attached to this written testimony and sent to the committee is a fiscal note for last year's Bill SB 6073. A colleague of mine, Caroline Schmalley, and I wrote this during our time as high school students at Lake Washington High School. While some terminology is written for SB 6073, the same applies for SB 5070. SB 5070 is an unfunded mandate and places this cost on schools instead of the legislature. This can complicate some schools' processes which do not have the means to find the funds to pay for dispensers and menstrual products. On the second page of the fiscal note, it is highlighted where some of these schools would be able to receive grants and donations from. Costco Wholesale, Parent Teacher Student Association, and Planned Parenthood, who support SB 6073 and possibly a supporter of SB 5070, are all viable options for schools. While schools may receive grants and donations, I would like to highlight this bill's efficiency if it were to be a funded mandate. The cost breakdown for the fiscal year 2022 and 2023 in public and charter schools is 2.5 million with dispensers and about $500,000 with baskets. Tribal schools, unfortunately, were not added at this time and can be in the future. After initial dispensers and baskets were added, the cost for fiscal year 2023 and 2024 onward would be around $466,000 with tribal schools added. Just $500,000 would be the cost to yearly support this bill with only menstrual products. If this initial cost for fiscal year 22 and 23 is too high with dispensers and our baskets, the legislature could bear the cost of just menstrual products and leave the schools to figure out how to provide the menstrual products and pay for it. These costs are not significant enough to make a dent in the education budget, especially for the outcome. To support and empower young women in Washington State, the Education Committee must provide them the means to succeed without. Sorry, thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'm pleased that Senator Ann Rivers has been the bill's sponsor, has been able to join us. So, Ann, would you like to speak to Senator Rivers? Would you like to speak to this bill? I'm sorry you missed some very good testimony.
I know, Madam Chair, there aren't enough hours in the day anymore. And I feel badly about preempting a young voice so that mine could be heard. But everybody
got for 2 minutes. Don't worry about it. We had some very good testimony.
Good deal. So I thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee, for hearing this very important bill. You might recall that last year this bill was sponsored by Senator Manka Dhingra and myself, and so this year we just switched and we're working it together again. But I feel pretty passionate about this bill. As a child of poverty myself, I know what it feels like to be in a crunch situation and to know that I think I would feel so much better knowing that there might be something here that could help me to remedy my situation without having to go to the office and make a big production or going to see the nurse, that kind of thing. And you know, we do this at the state capitol. We're not providing the highest end of materials, and yet in a pinch, they're just what's needed to help someone to avoid a very uncomfortable and embarrassing situation. You know, our kids today have enough to deal with, that if we can take just one thing off of their plate for de minimis, what amounts to a de minimis amount of money in the overall budget, I think that we should do that. I would additionally ask that we supply, we don't make this an unfunded mandate, that this actually be something that we put money behind and we stand behind for the young women of our state. I'm happy to entertain any questions if you have any, though I'm sure you've heard enough testimony by now that you're probably maybe ready to move on.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Are there any questions from anybody on our committee? I don't see any. We've had, I think, was 9 different people testifying, and I think it was a very comprehensive view of the topic. And so thank you for bringing this forth and maybe this is the year. Let's hope so. This is the year for equity, that our lens is on equity. So this is an important bill in that regard for sure. Thank you so much, Senator Rivers, and thank you, members of this panel. And we will move on to our next bill.